Right there.
Okay, keys there. Start it whenever you're ready.
Okay. So, seats adjusting secure, brakes on. We'll put the brakes on.
Yeah, just
speed,
hold it on the
okay.
toe brakes. Yeah.
Hatches closed. Flying controls for free movement. Good. Compass. Good. Master switch on. I need to discharge. Turn coordinate. Fuel gauges. Good fuel cup there. Reach to rich. Level set being chosen. Car beat cold. Clear prop.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Okay, yep, can I hear you? All good here?
Yep, all good.
Perfect. So, start and warning lights out, oil pressure into green arc, good. RPM, okay, 1200. Suction is good, ammeter charging, low voltage lights out, instrument check. It's pretty good, slightly. Radios.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. No, I'm not
No,
entirely sure.
yeah,
Is it
that
this
one.
one here? All the way.
Yeah, you can always turn it. You can always turn it down if it's a bit loud.
Okay,
But
yeah.
like, if you only set it there, you'll struggle to hear
Right.
it.
Okay. Yeah. That's
About,
it.
probably
Okay.
about there.
Good. Flaps exercising stages. Back up. Good. Lights.
Don't need. We've got the beacon.
Okay,
that's all.
Pitot heat again.
No, we're not today.
Okay.
We're not going to get to the freezing
Cabin
level.
heater. We'll be all right with that. Okay. Ready to taxi.
India, copy that traffic, and we're just approaching the overhead north to south now at 1,000 feet QNH.
India, that's all copied, and we have your visual.
So you need to request a radio check.
Yeah, okay.
So do you know what to say, or?
Never thought radio, Golf, Bravo, Romeo, November, Kilo, request radio check.
Yeah.
Never thought radio, Golf, Bravo, Romeo, November, Kilo, request radio check.
November Kilo, 5 from the tower.
Readability 5, November, Kilo.
Okay, so we're going to cross over to do our power checks, and then we'll decide which runway we're taking. The runway in use is actually designated as 18.
Okay.
And we've been mostly on 18, but it was just favouring 24.
Yeah.
Okay, before we cross, just in case there is anybody landing 24, we need to
India, at this time there's no other traffic.
pull forward and just pull
okay.
that way.
Thanks very much, India. We're just keeping down out the headwind actually, so we'll continue en route.
Brakes working, okay.
May pop in a couple of weeks though on the opposite direction, true.
Look forward to that, thanks.
So yep, can't see anybody.
Okay.
So I'll cross
Do we need to
over.
radio that we're crossing?
Yeah, you could do.
November Kilo crossing 24.
Just in case there's somebody we haven't seen that's using it.
November Kilo.
We're going just over here or around?
Yeah, we'll just go round the corner, and then we'll see as we come round this way what the windsock's doing. Like there's a bit of rain to the south.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I've
Okay.
got control a moment, because what we don't want to do is block this
Okay, yeah,
runway in case somebody wants to land on it. So if we come as close as we can, and then we'll spin it round.
Golf November Kilo for information. Current surface winds at 240 at 15 knots and has been 240 for the last 10 minutes.
Roger, thanks.
Okay.
So it's
that's right,
about
yeah.
there. There we go.
Okay. So, position to wind, brakes on, RPM 1200, good, engine gauges, all temperatures and pressures, green, suction and ammeter charging, magnetos check, so left, normal, actually revs are a bit higher, drop, back to both, right, back to both.
Is that friction? That's too loose. That's...
Oh, I see.
India is clearing to the south now. Thanks very much. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
Thanks so much. Look forward to that. India.
Bye.
Brakes are holding, carb, heat, drop, and back. Good, magnetos check again.
And Golf November Kilo from Golf Elevator.
Back to both.
Yeah, pass message.
Yeah, Christine, we've got showers to the south and the north, so I'm going to be operating at 3,000 feet just to the south side of Sheffield.
Roger, yeah, I can see the shower to the south from here, but I'll keep a good look out. I'll probably go out to Newark Way.
Roger, it does clear up to the western side of it if you needed to get around the back of it. But yeah, we've got north and south showers.
Roger.
For your information, from India, the shower's approximately about 4 miles wide. It's not very big.
Roger, thanks.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the hold. We'll stick with 2-4.
The radio again?
Yep.
Good. November Kilo, taxi to hold 24.
Lovely. You're managing with the taxiing not too badly.
Yeah, that's right. I've surprised myself with this. I did a little bit more last time.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to, doesn't it?
Getting used to not using the wheel.
Yeah.
Well then.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. Lovely. I'm back up to 1200. That's it.
Okay, so trim set neutral.
Right. Just only because I know this aeroplane.
Okay.
If you look at the trim tab at the back,
Yep.
if we have it about here, it tends to be quite heavy on takeoff.
Yeah, okay.
So it wants it just on the almost the bottom edge.
Yep.
You're not to know that.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just,
okay.
It's just because I know it.
Okay. Friction not secure. Happy with that. Mixture rich. In magnetos on both. Primer locked. Fuel on and sufficient. Flaps as required. Do we want one stage?
Yeah, short field. We'll need one stage.
Gauges and instruments checked and set. Hatches secure.
Yep.
Good. Harnesses all fine. Full and free movement. Good. Car peak. Hold for 10 seconds. Hot for 10 seconds.
Yeah. I knew what you meant.
All good?
Okay.
Okay. Ready.
Okay, I've got control,
control?
so we have a good look out. Can't see anybody. I'll turn that on. Yeah, I think we're good to go. Golf November Kilos lining up 2-4 and departing to the southeast.
Golf November Kilo. Current surface winds are 220 at 15 knots.
Don't want to waste any of this runway. Got
Yep.
nice shower coming out
Yeah,
to the
looks
left.
like it, doesn't it?
Woohoo!
There's a-
All stations, Airport Radio. We now have rain coming in from the south-south-east.
Oh,
go to the cloud, right?
hoping when we get a bit further
Yeah,
south, we'll go through
yeah,
it.
that's right.
It won't be very wide.
Yeah.
If that rains through your bush like
Oh,
the
right,
rain
is it?
comes in.
That's what it-
Yeah. It's starting to clear up a bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Golf November Kilos departing the circuit town. JJ Augusta 126.225.
One is this.
That's Doncaster
Oh, okay.
radar.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just listen out.
Yeah, yeah, so. Not bad now, is it, after the cloud?
No, around the showers it'll
Yeah,
be
yeah,
fine. It's just, hopefully they're quite isolated,
Yeah, yeah.
so we'll see them.
Good afternoon, Charlie, Foxtrot, Papa, Sierra Hotel.
Charlie Foxtrot, Papa, Sierra Hotel, Doncaster, good afternoon, sir.
Okay, so we'll start off with 7, which is climbing. Obviously the reason we combine climbing and descending is because it just makes sense.
Yep.
1004
So,
on VFR flight plan 2.
to enter a climb, it's still PAT, power, altitude, and then trim.
Yep.
So the performance we're looking at when we're climbing is we want a decent rate of climb,
6160
but we normally talk about airspeed. So each different type of aircraft will have what we call VX and VY. So VX is the best angle of climb. That gets you to the highest height in the shortest distance. So in the Cessna 152 it's 55 knots.
Okay.
Then we have VY, which is best rate of climb, so that gets us to the highest height in the shortest time.
Okay. Yeah.
And in the Cessna 152, that's 67 knots. Now, it's quite hard to pin 67,
Yeah, yeah.
so somewhere between 65
Yeah, okay.
and 70. So, power, altitude, trim. So let's go for 55 knots first of all,
okay.
VX. Now, when we apply full power, if you can remember from effects of controls, the nose is naturally going to want to come up anyway, but it's going to start to go to the left. So we need a little bit of right rudder, just enough to keep that ball in the middle, but you'll need that all the time you've got the full power on. So it's power, squeeze of right rudder, select select the attitude, so I reckon about there for 55 knots. So I hold it, let it just settle down. And then give it a few more seconds, then I check. So not quite, so I'll raise it just a little bit more. No, 50, that's probably a little bit too much. Because what you've got to be careful of is that instrument and that instrument lag.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've got to set an attitude and then wait and see.
Hold it for a bit.
Well, yeah, I'm happy with that, so we'll trim. Okay. So power, attitude, trim.
Okay.
So let's say I wanted VY now, so I'm going to go for about 65 to 70.
Yep.
So I've still got full power, so I need to just lower the nose slightly. So let's go about there. Give it a few seconds. Then I can check. So it's not bad, so then I'd re-trim it or adjust it if I needed to. But we can climb at any airspeed, we can climb at cruise, so I could climb at 80, but what I'll find is I'll only get a very slow rate. When we're established in the climb, we can maintain our direction by looking for something, a reference through the side, keeping our wings level.
Yep.
Every now and again we can check on here, but mostly is looking for a reference point. Engine's working quite hard in the climb because it's full power, but also we can't see if there's anybody in front of us. So around about between 500 and 1,000 feet, we just dip the nose, make sure there's nobody there. We can check our oil temperatures. Now this pressure gauge always reads at the top.
Okay.
And then back into the climb. Now, it is trimmed, but we have disturbed it. So all you have to do is just hold it and then it'll settle back down.
Yep.
To level off, this is the only time we don't do pat.
Okay.
Because we're going very slow. So the first thing we do is we select the attitude. So it's attitude first. Hold it. Let the airspeed get to about where you want it. And then we set cruise power. The reason for that being, if you remember from when you did effector controls many moons ago, airspeed affects our RPM. So if when I levelled off at 65, 70 knots and then I set 2300, by now it would be about there. So you let the speed build up, hold it, let the speed build up, then set your power, then trim. So top of the climb, it's apt, attitude, power, trim. But it's the only time. Every other time it's pat. Okay then, so you've got control. So we'll just stay in this direction. So remember, when you're in the climb, you'll need a reference point out to that side. So when you're ready, if you want to put us into a climb, and just try for 55 knots. Try for VX. Okay, so when you're ready.
Power.
So it's full power. Enough rudder just to keep the ball in the middle. That's it. Set what you think is the altitude. Hold it. Give it, quite a few seconds before you check your airspeed. Because what you don't want to be doing is this, chasing the airspeed indicator. If it's too fast, you raise the nose a little bit. Too slow, you lower the nose a little bit. And then when you've got it settled, you can trim.
6166 3,500 feet, QNH 1006, Charles Hotel.
Charlie Hotel, thank you.
It's actually a bit smoother than it was earlier. Yeah.
Oh, it was more bumpy
earlier. The showers must have got some of the energy out of the air.
Radar control, Charles Hotel.
Charles Hotel, report when clear of the weather and you can resume the navigation south. I have traffic to depart, climbing 3 altitude.
Yeah, it's not bad, it's going to be really, to absolutely pin it off 55 is quite difficult at this stage. Good.
About there, that's okay. Yep.
Okay, now try for VY, which is 65 to 70 knots.
So leave it on full power, just crawl very slowly.
So just select what you think it's going to be. Let it settle, let it catch up with itself. And then you can check the airspeed, adjust it if attitude if you need to. Excuse me. Excellent, that's really good.
Okay.
Okay, so engine's working hard,
Yeah,
so we check
so
our
just-
temperatures and pressures.
Okay, so dip forward
Just
slightly.
dip the nose for a quick look, make sure there's nobody there.
Good. And then
Back into the climb, reselect what you think is that attitude, but remember it is
Yeah,
trimmed,
just
so it
give a
will
little bit of time.
sort of settle down. Good.
All right.
Okay, when you're ready, if you want to level us off, so remember it's attitude first, that's it. Fortunately not a nice
Yeah. So
horizon, but good. And then
about there.
once it's where you want it, you can set the power, yeah.
No further left turns.
Roger, we'll continue on this track, no further left turn, Charlie Delta.
Anything to the right is fine. Just do not turn to the left. I will have a 737 departing runway 20 to the north, climbing 3 altitude.
Okay, copy that, nothing to the left, Charlie Delta.
About 2250 and
Yeah, November Kilo needs about 2300.
Okay.
You'll probably
Yeah,
get
that's
about
right.
80 to 85. She's a bit sluggish,
yeah, so
but usually it's about
Yeah, yeah, okay.
2250, yeah.
about there.
Yep. So, as long as we're maintaining our altitude,
Yep.
with airspeeds where we would expect it to be. Good. Excellent. Okay, I've got control. Yeah, so usually, if we're just wanting to climb, we normally climb around about VY,
Okay.
best rate.
Yep.
So usually around about 65, 70 knots, unless there's any other reason. The reason we would normally use VX, the best rate, best angular climb, is if after takeoff we've got obstacles to clear, or if we need to be at a certain height in a fairly short distance, we would otherwise usually best rate.
Normal to do it like that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look at a descent. So the first one we're going to look at is the glide, okay? So the glide is with the engine out, and we practice this one because basically that's what we do if the engine fails.
Okay, yeah.
So first thing we need to do, because we're going to be closing the throttle, we're going to be pulling the power all the way off, is we need to apply carb heat. Today is a prime day for icing.
Yeah, okay.
Carburetor, the temperature drops by 20 degrees centigrade.
Right,
That's
okay, yeah,
about
so
what
it's
we've got
yeah.
outside. There's a lot of moisture in the air, so it's a prime day for icing. So carb heat is hot. Then we're going to take the power all the way off. Now the nose, as we do that, is going to want to drop, but we don't want that to happen because we want 60 knots. So you have to hold the nose level.
Yep.
Now it'll start to get a bit heavy, so you
Yeah,
can take a bit of trim if you want. When you've got about 60 knots, you set the attitude that you think is going to maintain it. Let it settle. Then we can check. It's not bad, maybe just raise the nose slightly.
Charlie, Hotel.
And then trim. Now, again, years of experience have told me that that trim wants to be as far back as it will go. And that should more or less settle it down at around about 60 knots in the descent. So this is basically what happens if the engine fails. They do glide fairly well. Obviously, the higher up, the more time you've got. This time, though, however, instead of the engine working hard, the opposite's happening. It's not, it's idling. So again, about every 500 feet to 1,000 feet, we need to warm the engine. So to warm the engine, don't bother with the carb heat, but it's just a very smooth 1, 2, 3 to full power, 1, 2, 3 off. Now as you apply full power, that
Yeah,
nose
always,
is
yeah.
really going to want to come up, so you have to resist that.
Okay.
Oh, it's starting to get bumpy.
Yeah.
Right. 1, 2, 3 in. 1, 2, 3 out. It is trimmed, so we've just got to give it that bit of time to settle.
Can you say again the call sign?
Trouble is, once you get into the bumpy,
Yeah.
bumpy air, but so that should settle it
that's
back
right.
down again. Right, when we come to level off from a glide, especially if we've got it trimmed like this, you're going to find that you're going to have to really push. So when you do that, when you're leveling off, when you push, just take a handful of trim just to make life a bit easier. So I'll demonstrate it. So we want the carb heat to cold. Power, put it back to about 22, because obviously it's going to increase with the airspeed. Holding that attitude, so that's quite a push. So I'm going to take a handful of trim, just to make life easier for myself. Okay, so I can hold the attitude. As my airspeed increases, it should come up to about where I want it to be. But I can tweak it. So I'll tweak that off a little bit. Hold it level. And then I can fine trim it. Right, okay, so we've got Firestone over there, so I think if we come this way a little bit. And then you can have a go at that. Whew. Okay, so you've got control. So when you're ready, have a go at putting it into a glide. So remember, it's carb heat first. Ooh, lumpy bumpy. We spoke too soon earlier, didn't we?
All the power.
That's it. But hold the nose up because you want the speed to come back to about 60. Like I said, if you want, you can start taking some trim.
Okay.
If it's getting a bit heavy.
Okay for now. So once it gets to about 60, just let it
Yes.
down.
And then you can trim. Okie dokie. It should be as far back as it'll go. That will settle it down. So unfortunately it's going to get a bit bumpy,
right.
but it's it'll be trimmed. Okay, if you want to just have a go at warming the engine. So a smooth 1, 2, 3 in, 1, 2, 3 out. That's super. Got to let it settle.
It sort of bouncing up when
it wants to rear up with the power. Okay. Bumpiness. When you're ready, if you want to have a go at levelling off, so the first thing is you need that cold. Remember, don't quite put...
just a little bit less than that.
Okay. So you can let the nose come up a little bit. It'll naturally want to come up more or less to the straighten level. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
There we go.
Charlie 0 Hotel, the squawk conspicuity and pre-call is Midlands on 134.180.
Heavy, isn't it? On the
yes, that's why I say take a handful of trim. Makes life a bit easier for you. So, as the airspeed's increased, if you need to tweak the power, you can. Good, well done. Okie dokie. Right, so that's Newark ahead of us. So I know we've not done turning as such. So if you want to bring us round to the right, and we'll do a 180, and then we'll practice another climb. Yeah, I spoke too soon when I said it was a bit smoother.
That's right. It was nice for a bit though.
It was, yeah. Just a little bit further. Yeah, somewhere about there should do us, yeah. Okay, so when you're ready, I want you to put us into a climb, and I want you to climb us up to 65 knots, 65 to 70, so best rate.
Road 310, we had to extend a little bit further west because of the weather.
Out there, tip it forward a bit.
Good.
No problem, madam. Now.
Okay, so this time what I want you to do is level us off at 2,500 feet. So we're at 2 at the moment.
Okay.
Now, an airplane doesn't just do that.
Yeah.
It does that. So you want to start your level off at about 50 feet. Ooh, 50 feet to go.
About
So
50
just prior to 2.5, you're
Yep.
going to set your attitude, set your airspeed increase, etc. So it's just like preempting it, you know.
Yeah.
That's it. That's very good, because
Right.
to be fair to you, it's not easy on a day like this. Good.
Okay.
Okay. Right, I've got control. So this time we're going to look at a powered descent.
Yep.
That's what we do most of the time. So the performance we're looking from in a descent, a bit like a climb, exactly the same, is we're looking for a rate of descent and an airspeed. So, okay, let's say I'm going to descend at 70 knots and I want about 500 feet per minute rate of descent. I'm just going to come away from, I'm heading towards Mansfield at the moment, so I'll just come this way slightly. So again, setting it up exactly the same way as the glide. We want the carb heat to hot. So I'm going to go for 70 knots. So I've not got much airspeed to lose, but I'm going to reduce the power. Now I don't know what power I need, so I'm just going to set it around about 1700 RPM, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I'm going to lower the nose to what I think is going to maintain 70 knots.
Yeah.
So again, just like in the climb, it's the attitude that controls the airspeed. So we set the attitude we think is going to give us 70 knots. Check, that's good. Ooh, lumpy bumpy. As it happens, I've got about 500 feet per minute, so I would then trim. Right, let's say, so this is leading towards us coming into landing. So let's say, I've got an updraft, so So let's say I wanted, let's see if I can get 800 feet per minute rate of descent. So what I need to do is reduce the power. Now that means that is going to affect my airspeed, so it means I need to lower the nose, but it's still altitude for my airspeed and power to control that rate.
Yeah.
So that's getting too high a
So
rate, so I'm just going to add a little bit of power. And then I can adjust for my airspeed. Like I say, not the easiest day for you because you get it just right. Not far off, maybe just a bit less. It's somewhere around there. It's good. That's going to wander with because the airs. So then we would trim. Leveling off's not quite such a push because we've not got the trim all the way back, but it's exactly the same. It's 12 feet cold. Power. So depending on how slow you are is where you set the power. So I'm not that slow, so I'm going to set it about there. Attitude. Let it catch up with itself, and then I'll trim.
When you're setting the power for that descent, then there's no set rule as to how you do it.
No, when you're coming into land, you'll usually find that about 1500 RPM and 20 degrees of flap will set you at about 65, 70 knots in the descent with about 500 feet per minute, which is about what you want. So what are we at? 2,000 feet. Okay, you've got control.
Do you mind if I open the vent?
Oh, no, please do, yes. It is a bit warm.
Fine. Okay.
Okay, so when you're ready, if you want to put us into a climb, and try 75, just so that you get a practice that's slightly different. Pretty good.
Yep.
Okay, so this time we'll level off at 3,000 feet again.
Every sort of 500 dip it forward, just have a look.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt. About every 500 to 1,000 feet, have a look.
Capture approach, Golf Echo Kilo Oscar Sierra for basic service and zone transfer if possible.
So again, remember we're going to start our level off just slightly before.
Golf Echo Kilo Oscar Kilo, Doncaster, very good afternoon, Passenger total.
It's Golf Echo Kilo Oscar Sierra, Cessna 182, just departed standoff, returning to Sherburn. We're presently 1,000 feet this time. I'd like to take up a heading of about 310, talking 7,000 basic service and zone transit if possible. Golf Oscar Sierra.
Golf Oscar Sierra, squawk 6160, basic service outside the QNH 1007. What altitude do you want to climb?
Basic service 6161, 1007. I would like to climb to 2,500 Golf Oscar Sierra.
Golf Echo Kilo Oscar Sierra, you're clear to cross Doncaster airspace, VFR, not above altitude 3,000 feet.
Best transit zone, not above 3,000 feet, Golf Oscar Sierra.
Good. Lovely. Excellent. Okay, like I say, I know we've not done turning properly, but when you're ready, if you just want to bring us round to the right.
Golf Oscar Sierra, we'll be radar control service above altitude 2,000 feet.
That's Nottingham.
Okay, yeah, I was on the phone.
Doncaster radar, good afternoon. Golf Oscar Bravo Mike Sir for basic service and zone transit, please.
Okay, about there will do us.
Doncaster, good afternoon.
Okay, so when you're ready, I want you to put us into a power descent.
Yep.
Let's go for about 500 feet per minute and around about 75, somewhere around there, 70, 75. Excellent, well done.
Golf Oscar Bravo Mike Sir, squawk 6160 basic service and the QNH 1007.
6160 basic service. Could you give me the squawk again, please?
6160 sir, you're clear to cross Doncaster airspace VFR and double altitude 3000 feet.
Clear to transit, could you give me the altitude again, please?
Not above altitude 3000 feet.
Not above 3,000 feet VFR, Golf Mike Sir.
Nice, we've got about just over 70 knots, 75.
Altitude 2000
That's a little bit, yeah, so
I think, to be
power.
fair, because it's
Oh,
a
is
bit
okay.
bumpy, but I think you're not far off. Okay, let's try descending at 65 knots. So you'll need to raise the nose. Now, if you just purely raise the nose, what's going to happen? It's going to
Yeah,
stop your
level
rate
out,
of
yeah.
descent. So you'll need to reduce power. It's just about playing with the power
Yep.
and the attitude to get what you want.
Southern zone boundary, 3,500 feet, heading 010
Golf India India, squawk 6161 basic service, confirm your altitude, the QNH 1007.
6161 1007, 3,700 feet, Golf India India.
Golf Bravo Tango India India, thank you. You're clear to cross Doncaster airspace VFR, not above altitude 4000 feet.
Clear to cross Doncaster, VFR, not above 4,000 feet, Golf India India.
That's not bad, well done.
Doncaster India India.
Slightly on
Yes,
power,
it's
I can
not
take
bad though, it's good effort.
VFR is fine with me, sir.
Roger that, India India.
Just let me know you require an IFR clears for weather.
I think today it's going to be hard to pinpoint
Yeah,
exactly because it
Yeah,
is going to do that a little bit. Really good, at least you seem to have the concept,
Yeah, I
so
understand
that's
the
the
idea.
main thing. Okay, so when you're ready, I want you to just have a go at levelling us off. Excellent. Good, a lot of people forget the car beat.
Golf Oscar Sierra, squawk conspicuity and free call Sherborne, bye-bye.
And good, you remembered
Yep,
not
well
to
there,
set
yeah,
the
yeah,
power.
yeah.
Brilliant. Good. Okay. So we have to climb up to descend again. So when you're ready, you want to climb, let's climb at VX again, so 55 knots. And again, we'll go up to 2,500. So when you're ready.
Golf Oscar Bravo Mike, leaving my airspace, basic service, report leaving the frequency.
Big shower over there, straight ahead.
Yeah, that looks like a,
Oh,
quite a heavy one.
There's a
Yeah, there's a few just all around.
610, bye.
Conspicuity to Sherburn, thanks for the service, Mike Sierra.
Good. Hey, excellent. Okay, so we'll start heading back, and then we'll do another descent. So we're overhead sort of Sutton in Ashfield at the moment. Straight ahead just before the shower, it's just sort of to the south of Chesterfield, so Chesterfield's just up there. Chesterfield over there. Oh, airfield's more or less under the wingtip.
Okay.
So if you come round to the right again, we'll not head directly towards the airfield just yet. Yeah, somewhere about there, towards the shower again.
Perfect.
Okay, so what I want you to do this time is put us in a powered descent. Again, we'll go for about 500 feet per minute rate of descent. But let's go for, try and keep us at 80 miles an hour, knots, as I say. So don't worry that it takes a bit of time to get that power and attitude right.
Doncaster radar, good afternoon, Golf Romeo.
Just put it back to Netherthorpe, just listen out what's happening. That's not bad, that's not bad. Again, you just seem to get that right.
Yeah, that's right.
It. I think that's pretty much okay. Right, what I want you to do, so it's trimmed nicely, it will get upset now and again. I want you to level us off at 1,500 feet.
And Charlie Victor, for information, the surface winds averaged over the last 5 minutes 210 at 10.
Copy, Golf Victor.
Doing power descent, do you not do full power for a little bit to warm it back up again?
Not so much in a powered descent. You do in the glide because you've got the power all the way off, but in a powered descent, unless it's been a really prolonged one.
Golf Victor, downwind to 4.
Remember though to put that in because otherwise your RPM is slightly incorrect. That's it. Golf November Kilo, Spells over inbound, request airfield information.
Golf November Kilo, currently we're using runway 18 left hand, but there's an aircraft using 24 left hand, and the curfew is curfew is 996 hectopascals at this time.
996 hectopascals, copy the other traffic. I'll probably try for approach 24. What's the wind doing, Peter?
Current wind vectors averaged over the last 5 minutes of 200 at 8 knots.
bit between the two. I'll go for 2-4.
That's copied.
Good.
Each person just decides that when the wind's between the two runways, you just got
Yeah,
to They're not easy.
Yeah. So when it's days like this, it makes it harder if it's straight down one runway, or even if it's across a runway.
Yeah.
But you know what it's going to be. Whereas today, it's 1 minute it's this, 1 minute it's that.
And Charlie Victor, can you give us your position for November Kilo?
Where is he?
Say again for Golf Charlie Victor.
Charlie Victor, just state your position at the moment, please, so November Kilo knows where you are.
Base light 2-4 Golf Charlie Victor.
Oh, Roger, I'll be looking out. Okay, I'm going to take control. Well done. So, 3 wind turbines in front of us.
Yep.
As I come round, I need to start descending, so I'm just going to do a powered descent. So I'm just reducing the power. As I come round, that's the factory with the pond.
Yep.
Then workshop beyond it. So the airfield, if you go across the woods, it's just over there. The wind's blowing us a bit. So just like you've been doing, I've set my power to give me about 500 feet, keeping it at about cruise power. See, without doing anything, the rate of descent just dropped because it's...
Charlie Victor, current surface winds 210 at 8.
Golf November Kilo, downwind 24. Okay, so our brakes are off, our undercarriage is down, mixture is rich, fuel's sufficient in case we need to go around. This one always makes me laugh, but your temperatures and pressures are okay, because I think, well, what the hell are you going to do at this point if they're not? Hatches and harnesses are done up, and we just give it 10 seconds of carb heat.
Golf Charlie Victor is vacated 2-4.
Alright, on we go. If you were on the ground here now, you wouldn't see the big showers that are around, but they're fairly isolated, so not too bad.
It's so easy to see them when you're in the air.
Yeah.
Blob
The only time they're annoying is if they're sat right over the airfield and you want to land. Okay, so I'm going to start to set it up for landing now. So I'll throttle back because I want to slow it down.
Yep.
I need a bit of flap. So now I'm going to set the altitude. I want about 65 knots. Ooh. Now I want to be turning final at around about 500 feet, or I want to be at about 500 feet. Now if I keep that power there, I'm going to get too low.
Yep.
So I need to add the power. So this is where your powered descent comes in. But you've got to remember that power controls your height, i.e. your rate of descent. Because if you raise the nose because you're getting low, that's when you're going to stall it. But we do practice stalling. Okay, so good look out. I think the wind's going to push me through slightly, because the wind's sort of pushing me as I come round. Yeah. So I'm going to elect just to fly with 20 degree of flap, because it's quite a strongish crosswind, rather than the full flap. Golf November Kilo final 24.
November Kilo, current surface winds are 210 at 8.
So, I know you're not at that point yet, but basically, when you're coming into land, you want the numbers 2-4, whichever numbers it is, to stay in the same place in the windscreen, not going up or down. So again, if you find yourself getting too high, you take power off. If you're too low, you add power. If you're too fast, you raise the nose. Too slow, you lower the... Now the thing is, as you've seen, they're symbiotic. If you alter the power, you've got to alter the altitude and vice versa. Let's hold it off. Oh, a bit of a drop. Alright, so I won't apply the brakes just yet. Oh, the hairs, look.
Oh, the hairs.
Have I told you before why we've got hairs?
No. Well,
Oh, haven't I told you why there's hairs? Well, you know why there's hairs. It's because it's a airport.
Oh dear.
I know. So bad. Golf November Kilo runway vacated. I know, that is so naff. Oh,
It's got to be done, though.
you might as well.
Right.
So,
The taxi.
come off the runway. I know I'm naughty.
Oh,
you
go
shouldn't do it. You come off the runway, flaps up, car beat to cold if it's not, trim to neutral. Right, you can taxi us back down. I'll open the window, get a bit of air in. As you can imagine, I tell everybody that joke. But I can only tell it when the hairs are around.
That's it. You make the most of it while they're there. Now, so.
That's it. Oh, rocky road.
We're going
Just
past
keep
the other two.
if you just stop, yeah, go past them actually. Yep. We'll park. Why not? We'll park in front of the office. Because I've got a trial flight to do now.
Oh.
But somebody used to have a pilot's license years ago, so he won't mind it being bumpy. Okay, when you're ready, just bring it to a stop, and then I'll just park it up. Lovely jubbly. Good. Okay, I've got control.
Cool.
Yeah, I felt that went really well.
Yeah,
You seemed to understand it. You did everything really right, even though it was quite lumpy. So, yeah, very pleased with that.
Thank you.
So, for your next lesson, we need to look at turning.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm just got me thinking there.
Yeah,
We've done 7 and 8. We need to look at turning. Part of that as well, I'll put in your notes in case it's not me, is we'll also look at a powered descent with a bit of flapping as well, just for practicing for landing. Okay, if you want to get your checklist, and you can do the... so if you go to your rundown checks, or shutdown, whatever they call them in there. So if you go from there, if you go from RPM 1200...
Okay, so radio's never quit.
That one doesn't turn off,
okay.
unfortunately. The thing's broke, but that's off. Everything's off apart from the beacon.
Good. Magnetos. Yeah, this is one thing that I'm not with to check
the dead cut. Right. I've been told by engineers that the dead cut can damage the engine. And what I've found with students is they don't do it quick enough. Because if you do it, it's got to be off and back on. And they tend to go off, on.
And then,
So just do a left and right check.
Okay.
Don't bother with the dead cut. Okay.
Okay, engine gauge is normal.
So temperatures, pressure, suction ammeters, all good.
Okay.
Keys off now, master's off. We don't need to tie it down.
Okay.
Because I'm using it again. The key on there. Have I explained to you why we take the key out of the ignition?
I think you did, but I'm afraid I can't. No, just in case it.
Everything's a lot, So the reason why we take it out is if we've left it on a mag, that prop is live.
Yes, I got it right.
If you leave it on that right mag, try and take the key out.
Okay.
Can't take it out if it's on a mag.
So,
by turning it off and taking it out, you know it's off. That's. Sometimes I think if you understand why you do something, it makes it a bit more easy to remember. But good, that was really well done.
Right,
so next time, exercise 9, turning.
Yep, I'll read through.
Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, it depends, you do need a fairly nice horizon. It doesn't have to be crystal clear, but if it's murky, it's no good.
I think it's supposed to be Tuesday, actually,
let's
but I don't know.
Crossed.
I haven't looked at the weather yet.
No, me neither. Right, no rush, I'll see you back
thank you.
in.